KBLA 1580.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews, stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs. Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Keep following the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
So far, so bad she made me sick sometimes. I just had to hit this lick one time. I met her in the gallery, you're shopping, buying gifts, but some got it some dick.
What song is this? This is an old school 90s song.
And I'm congratulating that. But man, she had a back so fat.
Let me see if I can figure out who this is.
It seems to me she had
Scarface. Is it Scarface? Okay, those Ghetto Boys. Oh, it's a Scarface track. Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but I remember the song. This is a big song. What was this? Sex Face. All right, welcome back. Don Amiche versus everybody with Kristen Shante Carmel Blake. We are here Monday to Friday from 4 to 7 this week. KBLA 1580. Yesterday was we were waiting on this red wave, the Handmaid's Tale. I got my whole Handmaid's Tale bedroom set up, you know what I'm saying, for when we have the second woman.
Which is nothing.
Oh.
So in The Handmaid's Tale, they don't use any technology. They're all minimalist.
Yeah.
You can't even have a comfy pillow.
No, right. Yeah. Still, I just still can't believe the amount of people who voted for Herschel Walker, which is very interesting. I'm just like, wow. I knew Stacey Abrams was going to lose because the enthusiasm just wasn't there. And the problem, here's the thing with these, and more so, these Republican governors are taking care of, they're not as partisan as they may seem. Mm-hmm. I think Ron DeSantis, I saw a lot of black people in Florida saying they were going to vote for DeSantis just because of the way he handled the hurricane situation.
Yeah.
And so you know what I'm saying? And Brian Kemp may be doing – and then also the Don't Say Gay types, the bill that they had, which is really not they just don't want you discussing transgender, gender identity from K through 3, which I don't think is an issue. And a lot of Floridians vote. I think Ron DeSantis is – he's got Florida – I think he's in tune with Floridians. Which is the reason why they voted overwhelmingly to reelect him and not Governor Christ. And that state's all Republican. Now, the rest of the country is, interesting. I didn't know if Carrie Lake was going to win because I just think she's a beautiful woman.
She's very pretty.
She's very pretty, and she presents very well in front of the camera. But I think her issue is that she's on that Trump. On the Trump train with that election denying crap, and that's one of the most surprising things that I think America showed us was that the people who are Republican and vote Republican are not that crazy. Mm-hmm. They may be a little bit crazy.
This chick?
Yeah, that's Carrie Lake. She used to be a TV announcer. She has a swag to her.
Yeah.
She has a swag to her. Okay. Is what it is. She has a grown woman swag that says I'm powerful, I'm sexy, I'm intelligent. There's a lot going on for her, but then she has aligned herself with the Donald Trump piece, which Donald Trump. What I thought what Donald Trump wanted to do, because he has a special announcement for November 15th, what I was thinking he was going to do, and I don't know if this is still going to happen, was that he was going to wait to see who got elected tonight of the people that he supported, and if all the people that he got supported got elected, then he was going to use that as kind of a backing to say I'm running for president again in 2024. So I wonder if we're going to still get that announcement. He's supposed to be making a major announcement November 15th at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, he attacked DeSantis today, which
he shouldn't do.
They say indicates that those two are going to go head to head. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, but you know what? I think, and I felt this way when Trump, a little bit after Trump got dethroned, was that I think people are just moving away from him. I think that time has passed. I think Americans have a very short attention span. And when it comes to Donald Trump, I think they're like, they still love him. But as far as being a politician, I think that last night's election was that they appreciate him, they like him, but he's not good for office. Otherwise, the people that he endorsed, and not to say that he still doesn't have he has a base, but the independents who helped get him elected are not going to go back to him at all.
Well, if you really look at some of the people who he endorsed, they got really close. They just couldn't get to where they needed to be. I mean, nobody thought that Herschel Walker was going to get as close as he got, and then Oz got closer than most people thought.
Yeah,
Dr. Oz. I mean, a lot closer than.
But they're saying Oz was moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, and those are two different worlds. So I'm assuming it's like moving from San Francisco to Los Angeles, maybe, and that he just didn't resonate with. I mean, they picked a guy who had a stroke over Oz.
Yeah, but did you see their? I saw when what is it called when they had their they went back and forth the debate. Fetterman did a great job. I mean, considering, I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
Is he talking to a machine or is he not talking? What is he doing?
I mean, I could tell that
So he was talking during the debate.
Yes, I could tell he had some issues, but it wasn't as bad as they made it out to.
Well, they were saying that he needed to do interviews with looking at I guess the questions need to be worded a certain way so he can read it and perceive it a certain way. And I don't know. Listen, and then there was also talk on the Republican side of him being a puppet and that he was kind of like a Biden to a certain extent, as far as a dummy that people were playing puppet to. I didn't buy that at all, because if he could still handle himself in interviews and debates, even though he may have the help of an apparatus, I don't think that's a problem. And I think the voters of Pennsylvania saw that it wasn't a problem at the end of the day, and that's why he got elected.
I just feel the takeaway is something that you said yesterday, which Biden pretty much addressed today, was that when people voted this time around, not everybody voted via party line. Some people voted for Republicans, and some people said, well, I really like this guy. He's a Democrat. They voted for the person as opposed to party line. That's one thing. That was one of the biggest takeaways they said.
Yes,
I was listening to something today, and they said there's really something to be said right now about the Republican Party and everything they're generating. If we're in job crisis, the highest interest rates, the highest gas prices we've ever seen, the president that's got the lowest presidential rating since they started rating presidents, and still there was no red wave.
Well,
It's just like the overall message of the Republican Party. You guys need to go sit down and rethink what you guys are pushing out.
I think your
entire agenda.
I think what Americans, the opposition, I usually lean very liberal, but excuse me. Those who voted Republican said that I'm still going to vote Republican, but I'm not going to vote crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that does say something about our country, to where Brian Kemp won the governorship in Georgia, but Herschel Walker is still too tight for a runoff. I think there were a lot of Republicans who were just like, I just can't vote for him. And I think that is a sign also that we're still a little bit more together than we are apart.
Yeah.
Or at least there's a piece of us, the piece of that sane at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens. I'm still waiting to see who's going to be mayor. Who's going to be mayor of Los Angeles? I have no idea. Is it too close to call?
They didn't call it?
No, it's just still too close to call. I'm looking at, it's just nobody knows anything.
Wow.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I do want to say one of the things I saw yesterday was that whoever is managing Will Smith's social media and his apology tour, because so when you're Will Smith, and you slap somebody at the Oscar and you let your emotions get the better of you for whatever reason, what happened that night, you have to repair your image. And what we saw was, I don't know, about 3, 4, 5 months ago was a sorry come out. I'm sorry. He disappeared for a minute, which he needed to do. Let things cool over. But whoever is the crisis individual who's managing his comeback is doing an amazing job. Because when he came out and said, I'm sorry, about 4 months ago, he did it when something else was happening. I don't know if it was a war in Ukraine or, I don't know, something else was going on. And then the election was going on yesterday. And he dropped another I'm sorry, but he dropped the I'm sorry in a different way. So let me play you this I'm sorry here that Will Smith did. And just listen to how he's saying I'm sorry.
I farted just a little bit. Sorry. 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 Sorry.
So you see that? You know, the I farted is a subconscious reference to the Chris Rock slap. The consistent sorry in the video is a sorry for everybody, and then he looks at the camera and says, "I'm sorry," also. So it's a subconscious thing, but I think everybody kind of gets it, and it's not really kind of like addressing the issue, but showing remorse on a subconscious level without being the main story. Beautifully done. So whoever is managing this comeback is doing an amazing job because it's done in just the right rhythm, temperature, but not taking over the storyline or that's happening here, and he's still getting his message through, which is I'm sorry.
I would have never put those two things together.
You gotta the only way that you get to this point is understanding. You gotta look at when the videos are dropping.
Yeah.
Because most people would think, oh, Will Smith farted and he's saying I'm sorry, but why drop a video about farting on the day of an election?
Right.
I mean, there's an election that everybody's talking about. You do that so I can say, I'm sorry, I'm here, I'm saying I'm sorry, but everybody's paying attention to the election. It's
But
great.
it's not sincere.
No, well, how do you say I'm sorry for slapping Will Smith and really mean it? Like, how do you apologize for
Chris
that?
Rock.
I'm Chris Rock. How do you apologize for that? How does one rehabilitate their image and come back from that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
Does he need to rehabilitate it though?
Yes,
Either you're gonna still mess with him or you're not.
It's not even about that.
Maybe he needs the 6 points like Kyrie Irving, and he needs to
go
to sensitivity training. He needs to give $50,000 million. He needs
I guarantee he's probably
speak
already
with
doing
black leaders in the community. He needs.
I guarantee he's already doing all of that. As far as therapy and figuring out why, to be honest with you, I think there was something else at play that night. Nobody gets someone that upset.
Well, it was from something else.
I
So
know,
apparently Chris Rock had been like heckling over the years.
Yes, but nobody gets that upset at an award show at the Oscars.
You think maybe he was mad at Jada and took it out on
her? No.
What's your theory?
My theory is that I'm not going to say what I think because I don't want to cast aspersions, but I want you to infer what I'm thinking, that what was going on that night, that can get an individual out of control. Because they may be celebrating a little too much.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In anticipation of something, they let themselves get away from themselves in a moment. That's my theory, but I'm not going to come out and say anything like that because I have no issue, no proof. All I know is just that's out of Will Smith's character.
So out of character
for the number of years. So what was the catalyst that caused him to do it?
Yeah.
They've been talking about his wife for years.
Yeah.
And he's a professional performer. So what would allow you in this moment to get out of your skin or to be undisciplined? And I'm not going to say what I think it is. I'm just going to, you guys both get what I'm saying.
So what you think it is, does he have a history of what you think it is?
No, but it was a big night. It was a big celebratory night. And I could see somebody, they worked very hard. You understand, they campaigned for this. They knew they were going to get it. And let's celebrate a little early.
Oh, gosh.
Just speculation on my part. I don't really know. And I'm only saying that, and this is just my analysis of the situation, because when have you ever seen Will Smith do anything like this physically.
Ever.
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 He's never done that. He may have been a little bit. He may have been too much, a little bit of a narcissist, but being violent and a narcissist are two different things.
But I think just the fact that you're saying that this is, you feel like he's got to rebuild his image because it was so out of character. I don't necessarily believe he's got to rebuild an image.
Well, what he has
because
to,
it was like this
yes,
random moment throughout the entirety of his career.
But yes, you can do one of two things. You can. You're a major star. This is uncharted territory. You're a major star who's done something horrendous in front of the world. How do you come back from that?
Especially at an event that's considered so prestigious.
I mean, so prestigious.
I mean, especially when it comes to white people, because everybody that I heard that was like, oh, I could never forgive him, mostly white people.
Nice.
They didn't even consider all of the great work he's done. That one little, it's a huge thing that he did.
No, it was like I farted a little bit.
Right. Yeah. The one mistake he made, it was like, okay, you're canceled, period, end of story.
I've been holding it all this time, and I farted just a little bit, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. We will never be able to use the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite ever again.
I don't think we can use it when we're going.
I'm just
Nobody
saying,
cares.
we cannot copy because they'll turn and be like, well, you see what happened last time. We invited y'all to the party.
They didn't care when the Oscars so white thing was going on.
Listen, they're like, we invited y'all. We let y'all host. We let y'all direct. We let y'all y'all won stuff, and look what happened.
All right, so we talked about the layout. So we got to get to break, but we talked about I said the recession was going to happen in tech, and this week we are seeing the start of layoffs in the tech industry, with Facebook laying off 11,000 people. Salesforce laid off a certain percentage of workforce. I think last week, Lyft laid off 15% of its workforce, and we're starting to see this going on. These tech stocks, which were the darling of Wall Street during the pandemic, are now starting to fall out of favor. They've grown too big. I sent you guys a video. I sent somebody a video where they grew too big. I sent you the video. Did you ever watch that YouTube video I sent you? Where they were holding a conference. There was basically these hedge funds or these investment banks or these people with the money come to you and say, listen, man, you got a good idea. I need you to grow faster. I'll give you $100 million. Let's do it right around the capital. And then you grow faster. And then they're like, man, that was great, bro. And then they go to somebody else and say, listen, I got round B of funding for you. Can you grow faster? And then they grow faster. All the while, they're not making a profit at the end of the day. They're growing, which shows like, wow, people must be using it. Facebook has 76,000 employees. But look for that number to keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Maybe Amazon, maybe a lot of these tech companies. We're going to see. That may spill over to our lives, depending on how much these tech people have saved. The recession, which I don't know if we're technically in a recession, but the economic issues that are about to happen to this country are maybe just held off in the tech world, depending on how much money they saved. If they have enough savings, because what's going to happen is that, and this is what the Federal Reserve wanted. The Federal Reserve is trying to basically say, listen, you grow too big, you're too big, you got too many people making too much money, and then we need to get the unemployment number up. So the people that are getting fired now are going to go after the jobs that are open right now. And hopefully those jobs will dissipate, and then there will be no more jobs. And once the Fed sees that, then maybe they might start slowing down the interest rate hikes because they don't want to kill the economy. They just want to even it out. Depending on if the recession or the economic shock that is hitting these people who are working at Facebook and Meta or in a lot of these other tech companies, how much money they have saved up. Can they weather being unemployed? Because some of them are going to get jobs right away, but then there's also going to be a bunch of them that are going to be looking for us because the people the good talent is going to exhaust all the jobs that are open. Do they have enough savings to weather being unemployed for a long period of time? And if they do, then that economic shock won't hit the rest of the economy. If they don't, you'll start to see issues like housing come up because they're going to start getting evicted or foreclosed upon, repossessions, credit card debt, and all this other stuff. So it's still some time to see and wait on that. It's okay. You're not in tech.
No, but I mean, it's interesting you talk about this because I have some friends in healthcare. I remember when Kiara was here, she was mentioning that she had some friends that it kind of trickled down, and I heard two interesting stories. One actually today on the way here, where if this person wanted to keep her job, they're cutting vacation and no more sick days. So they've cut the vacation, and if you're sick, you have to take a vacation day for your sickness. No more sick.
That's in health or tech?
This is in health. So it's trickling down probably, and I said, why is that? And she said she thinks it's because the company's worried about a recession. That's what she said. So I don't know. But then I heard another story where all personal days earlier this week, personal days are cut off, only vacation time, and then sick time cut down to 3 days as opposed to 9.
Oh.
So those are two in healthcare.
All right, listen, we'll get to all of that when we come forward. We'll get to Stacey Abrams losing the election. Black man, Dr. Umar hits Stacey Abrams in the left breast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can do is hit a woman in the breast when she's down. Come on now. You don't do that. We'll hear Dr. Umar's statement when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Courage is contagious. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
What make you?
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
It's pro time, because at Lowe's, it's Provember. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt power tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all Provember long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. MVP's Pro Rewards Program. Terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
Nacho fries are back at Taco Bell. You know, the fries covered in bold Mexican spices you dip in a warm nacho cheese sauce. You can also dunk them in nacho cheese sauce or pour the sauce onto a pile of them and create like a nacho fries nachos. The thing is that you eat them with nacho cheese sauce. That's what makes them nacho fries. Otherwise, you're just eating fries and sipping on nacho cheese sauce, and that's the wrong way. Sorry, just really passionate about nacho fries.
Nacho fries are back, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation with guests.
KBLA Talk 1580, putting the spotlight on culture and community. The Rodney King Foundation works in the community to promote positive race relations and achieve social justice. The foundation provides advocacy, educational scholarships, and the powerful Walk in Love initiative. The Rodney King Foundation seeks a world of justice, where divisiveness has been overcome and all people live together peacefully and harmoniously. Executive Director, Founder, Laura King is striving to enhance the community's self-esteem, health, social services, and social justice locally and worldwide. The foundation is dedicated to continuing the message of Laura's father, the great Rodney King, to promote peace and #GetAlong. For more information, please visit rodneyking.org or call 626-541-2907. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Less BS per broadcast. Fewer microaggressions per megawatt. KBLA Talk 1580.
A little bit later on, we're going to be doing some conflict resolution. I don't know, one of you guys could take the one side, and I'll take the other side.
God, there's so much wrong with that conflict.
Well, that's why we're going to do conflict resolution on the show. Listen, I was thinking last night, as I was extremely high, I said, we need to disconnect from the news on this show. And I want to really try to disconnect from the news. I don't want. It's nothing but negativity. It is horrible. I'm tired of reading about it. I don't want to read about it. And we need to dig deep into our lives, into the nuance, and try to solve the problems. All right.
Okay.
What?
I said okay.
Nah, you said okay in a way that. Man, don't have me have your husband on the show. Do not let me put your husband on this show, because he will understand the okay that you gave and give a lot of context to it.
He would love nothing more.
Exactly. All right. So Stacey Abrams lost last night, and you don't hit a woman in her breast when she's down. You don't do that. Dr. Umar Johnson said to Stacey Abrams in a post, "I'm sorry you didn't win yesterday, sister, but let me be honest, you had no intention of doing anything to help black men in Georgia. The Democrats are blaming black men across the country for Republican victories in key states for Congress, citing our failure to vote. Vote for what? Black men aren't going to have their votes exploited by white people. Sorry, Queen, we have left the Democratic Party plantation."
And this is what we say: black men don't support us.
I
because
don't know.
At the end of the day, you know what bothers me?
Yeah.
You guys have power, and there are rooms that you guys can walk into that they have yet allowed women to walk. There are glass ceilings that have been broken by black men.
Hold on, you sent me a video that said that's untrue, though.
Listen, I can't keep listening.
Oh, you don't. I don't
No. That said, are you talking about the one that said if all the black men voted, she still wouldn't have won, right?
Right. Hold on, we'll get to that.
I don't know that to be fact. I was just like a little that may or may not.
Oh, that was illegally. I think it was it. We'll get to that when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk for Tonight.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Many are cheering today for the end of negative campaign ads. Experts say the reason we see so many is simple, because they work. Professor Guy Golden at Texas Christian University says polling shows that negative campaign ads are unpopular with voters, but they keep getting used. We still don't know which party controls Congress the day after the midterms. NBC News declared the House a toss-up for the time being, while the Senate is seeing a razor-thin margin between Democrats and Republicans. Much of Florida is under either a tropical storm watch or hurricane warnings, with evacuations ordered in multiple counties. Governor Ron DeSantis is confident more than enough resources are ready to respond. About 16,000 linemen are staged to begin power restoration as soon as it's safe to respond. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Island from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Good afternoon. We've got a lot of weather-related today. In Highland Park, northbound 110 between Avenue 43 and via Marisol, we've got the right lane closed, as well as the off-ramps to Avenue 52 and via Marisol for emergency repairs from flooding that happened yesterday. In Porter Ranch, the westbound 118 off-ramp to Reseda Boulevard also remains closed to repair damages from a sinkhole. In Sylmar, westbound 210 between Hubbard and the 5 freeway, we've got the right lane blocked off this afternoon, as well as the transition from the west 210 to the south 5.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 and 8 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers and Clippers meet up again tonight at Crypto.com Arena. Clippers forward Paul George has been putting in work during Kawhi Leonard's absence. George is averaging 31 points in the Clippers' last 5 games. The Clippers are 4-1 in that stretch. The Lakers are 2-8, but Russell Westbrook has been balling since coming off the bench the last 6 games. Westbrook is averaging 19.3 points, 6.8 assists, and shooting a respectable 51% from the floor. Tip-off time tonight at 7. The Brooklyn Nets promoted assistant coach Jacques Vaughn to permanent head coach. Vaughn had been the interim coach since Steve first. The Nets are 2-2 since Vaughn took over. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we're slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
If you're the victim of a car accident, call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to getting the maximum compensation you deserve, our team hits it out of the park. Call 833-MVP-WINS for a free case review.
Call me your MVP. Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader. Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader. Follow 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 the leader.
Extra, extra, read all about it, read all about it, read all about it.
In recent editions of the Los Angeles Standard newspaper, read about HBCU's impact in Los Angeles, the Screening Room LA meeting at the Gathering Spot in West Adams, giving black filmmakers a place to showcase their work, the codename Crenshaw Boulevard, Malcolm X Boulevard, Hotville Chicken to the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza, the Engineer Factory, preparing black children for STEM majors and professions. Jan Perry addressing the homelessness and housing crisis as she runs for Congress. Shauna Charles, career in public relations, local black hiking groups, and Los Angeles Philharmonic Inglewood headquarters hosting free music classes for local children. Read about these stories at LAStandardNewspaper.com and follow this black-owned publication on Facebook and Instagram.
Have you heard it? Have you heard it? Have you heard it? Have you heard it? Have you heard it?
The City of Los Angeles Department of Cannabis Regulation invites you to participate in a virtual town hall meeting called Cannabis in Your Community, partnering on progressive enforcement. They want to engage and receive input for you on a very important topic, illegal cannabis activity in your community. Community involvement is a key component to identifying problems and discovering new ideas to fix them. These virtual events will include a presentation on how DCR, the Los Angeles Police Department, and other city departments work together to tackle enforcement against illegal cannabis businesses. Each meeting will focus on a different region of the city. For more information on times, dates, and regions, please visit cannabis.lacity.org.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
About everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Why you come?
To be
All right,
treated
we're going to get to this. We're going to do a conflict resolution exercise a little bit later on to try to help you out in your relationships or what do you?
I don't need any help in my relationship.
Well, I'm not saying you specifically.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to the audience. I know
you're the goat.
I know. I was looking at you.
Long, beautiful relationship.
Yeah,
You're the goat around here. We're trying to be like.
Yeah, I wasn't specifically talking about you. I'm just talking in general to the audience. You don't need. Well, maybe you can learn something from this, or maybe you can take a side and give us how you would handle the situation. Dr. Umar Johnson, who is a Pan-Africanist, he bought a school in Delaware and wants to start a school for black children. He wrote on his Instagram to Stacey Abrams, who I felt lacked enthusiasm when she was going up against Brian Kemp. And he says, "Don't blame black men. I'm sorry you didn't win yesterday, sister. But let's be honest, you had no intention of doing anything to help black men in Georgia. The Democrats are for Republican victories in key states for Congress, citing our failure to vote. Vote for what? Black men aren't going to have their votes exploited by white people who do nothing for us. Sorry, Queen. We have left the Democratic Party plantation now." You know, I think that message resonates with some black men. I don't know if all of them. There was you sent me an Instagram from a guy named Michael Harriet, who I'm not really sure. That name sounds familiar. He says, according to exit polls, Abrams had more support from black men than Dems had nationwide. In fact, if every single black male Kemp voter had voted for Abrams instead, she still would have lost, which is probably true because there might be more white people in Georgia than there are black men in the major urban states, which is one of the reasons why I said we all need to move to the South. Imagine if you moved to the South and you overwhelmed the counties, or you don't even have to move to rural Georgia. Just move to suburb Georgia and keep pushing yourself out into the further counties. Imagine if black people lived in those counties and you overwhelmed the vote in Georgia. Stacey Abrams would be your governor right now. Same thing in Mississippi, same thing in Alabama. We have hefty populations in there, and if black people would move to the South...
We'll go right after you, Don.
Absolutely.
I'll go right when you go.
Okay.
To the South.
Yeah. Look at you. Kiara said the same thing. You guys are, oh my God. You just want to die over here.
In the most beautiful, this is the most beautiful state in America. I'm sorry. Florida ain't winning. Listen, nah. LA is where it's at. I'm sorry.
There was an article on CNN Politics. Black men say they feel ignored by politicians. The historic Senate face-off between two black men isn't helping. Aaron Bethea says he has voted election after election for U.S. presidents, governors, and senators, and yet those lawmakers have done little to nothing to improve life for him, his family, or his community. Bethea says he believes the issues he cares about, financial freedom, and equal investment in predominantly black schools, have largely been ignored. Where are we from? Nobody really cares about what black man thinks, said Bethea, an Atlanta father of 6 who owns a wholesale company that sells televisions. They do nothing for us. Bethea, 40, said he still plans to vote Democratic in Georgia's hotly contested gubernatorial and U.S. Senate races, but he's not voting with enthusiasm. He said he is hoping that one day But he is not alone. Political analysts and researchers and black male leaders say politicians are failing to reach some black men with messaging that resonates with them and visibility in their communities. Those shortcomings, oh, wow, look at you with oh, wow. Can't even get to the article without a sigh.
I'm just listening.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No.
I'm listening with my whole body.
That was a black woman's sigh.
Because it's a whole lot of winning is me, mommy.
Let me get through the article for us. They say these shortcomings can particularly hurt Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections, given black men are the second most loyal voting bloc for the party, and extra black women, experts say. And while black men have increasingly supported Republicans in recent years, some say the GOP is still missing the mark. Many black men say they are concerned that Georgia Republican candidate Herschel Walker does not represent them in a positive light, given his many public gaffes, history of domestic violence, and being an absentee father. Political analysts worry that the lack of effective messaging could result in black men sitting home November 8th, and Democrats like Stacey Abrams, who has made a late attempt to reach black men with a series of events, losing their races. If some of them feel unmotivated because they do not feel spoken to, then you really got a problem, said Jason Nichols, a professor of African American Studies at the University of Maryland, College Park. A lot of these campaigns don't hire black male advisors. They don't hire black men to actually tell them how to reach black men. So far, 39% of black voters have been men, and 61% have been women, according to Catalyst, a company that provides data and other services to Democrats, academics, and nonprofit issue advocacy organizations, and gives insight to those who is voting before November. Those breakdowns were the same at this point in the early voting period in 2020. Black men were gradually leaving the Democratic Party to vote for Republicans. In 2020, 12% of black men voted for former President Donald Trump. Ted Johnson, a senior director at the Brennan Center for Justice, said some black men find Republicans more attractive because they promote individualism and the idea that hard work, not government dependence, leads to financial success, which is absolutely true. In 2016, Johnson wrote in The Atlantic that a black person who supports Trump was likely a working-class or lower-middle-class black man over the age of 35 and interested in alternative approaches to addressing what ails black America. So Johnson said black men are not naive and will vote against a Republican candidate who they feel is unfit. And for some black men, that is the case with Walker, who's running against U.S. Senate incumbent Raphael Warnock. So the Republican Party, they give them a second look because they feel the Republican Party is not handing out anything compared to the Democrats, who they feel are handing out so much at the expense of black men at the end of the day.
Stacey Abrams speak to anyone besides black people? black women.
Did she speak to?
Do you feel like she was able to reach white women, white men, Asian, Latino? Did she speak to anyone else besides the black female vote?
I didn't see any messaging cutting through, and I don't even know if she was even accurately speaking to black women.
Right.
To be honest with you, I don't know if the messaging when it came to Stacey Abrams was cutting through in such a way that it made her look like a better. Because remember, you got 4 years of Kemp, or 2 years. How was it? 4 years of Kemp.
4 years.
Well, 4 years of Kemp, who's obviously done a stable job enough to keep his job.
Yeah.
And so her messaging wasn't cutting through in a way that, hey, vote for me, other than I'm a black woman running for governor of Georgia. What are you going to do specifically? And this is the problem Hillary Clinton ran into at the end of the day, where she wasn't speaking to enough individuals, and it was just like she was supposed to be the crown next.
Exactly.
If you were the political advisor for her, what would you? Because that was a really good point. That some of these people that are running, they need political advisors to help them be able to speak to certain people that really matter. Because the one thing that I've heard over and over is, I don't want free stuff. I want an opportunity that's going to last me. You know, I want a good career. I want to be able to get to, go to school, maybe, pay for me to go to school so I can learn a new trade, so I can have a good life, so I can buy a house, so I can do this. I don't need all that free stuff. I've heard that many times.
So you want to learn how to fish. You don't want to
I think a lot of people want to learn how to fish. They don't want to be fed fish. I think if you were Stacey Abrams, the first thing you should look at is at how much of the state of Georgia's apparatus is its system that is fining and financially oppressing people with their policies. It could be tickets, it could be child support, it could be taxes, it could be whatever. And you start there and say, listen, I'm going to lessen this up. I'm going to get this off of you. I'm going to get this apparatus off of you and free up some more of your cash so you can put more money. It doesn't cost anything to do this. Put more money in your pocket. Second of all, I would sit there and try to give people access to go back to school. I think there are a lot of Gen Xers.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of older black men who need to go back to school, retrain themselves for a different career path because they're blue-collar workers. And that's the big issue here, is that there are a lot of black blue-collar workers that nobody's talking to. These are the barbers. These are the people who are working at the plants. These are the people who are just doing the everyday jobs, not the elites who are the white collars with the PhDs and the masters who are working as consultants and the higher-ups. So nobody's talking to the blue-collar black worker.
Yeah, and let me just have a lot to say about this. When I lost my job, my full-time job, where I was making very good money, and I was like, what am I going to do next? The great thing about, at least in California, there's certain community colleges that have programs for older workers. Mm-hmm. Not all of them, but the one I went to, and you get to take your class for free, and then they help place you. You need to think about people that are older because we are discriminated against, especially when it comes to our age.
You age out of the workforce to a certain extent.
And we still are able to produce. We're still able to be loyal. We can learn. Gen Xers are able to learn very quickly. We're not dumb. And I think that we're not thought of. And that's the most frustrating, infuriating thing.
But you see the level of excitement that Krista just has right here? If a politician was talking to her just like this.
Yeah.
No politician's talking to her and not addressing the issues that are going on in her life. They're playing by old school books or generalities. This is why I would like to press Karen Bass. If Karen Bass becomes the next mayor of Los Angeles, I would like to press her with a project that she can work on for Los Angeles, a community investment project. What if the city of Los Angeles were to cover the costs of all of these pop-up shops, these festivals, these places where a lot of black businesses or a lot of small businesses go and sell their wares, cover the security, cover the technical, cover the entertainment. I mean, imagine if the Taste of Soul, the city of L.A., picked up the tab for that. All right, pay Danny Bakewell whatever he makes off of the Taste of Soul, let him organize it and allow businesses to not have to pay to get into the Taste of Soul, but they can get a free spot because the city is sponsoring it. And that way they can make some money and that the city doesn't have to do nothing but just alleviate and get the red tape out of you. Pay for the security, pay for the entertainment. You've got a multi-billion-dollar budget to where these pop-up fairs, festivals that are going on, and not just here in mid-city Los Angeles, Koreatown, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, wherever the city of Los Angeles covers. There's always a Sherman Oaks. There was just a festival not too long ago. Cover the cost of that so that businesses can register for free, and that they can make some money, and that they can fish for themselves without you having to pay $2,500 just to set up a booth at some of these festivals, which is what they cost. So if I'm paying $2,500, I'm gambling on the chance of I might or might not make some money at the end of the day, depending on what I'm selling. The city of LA could cover those costs to make the events free for those who register who have a business. And this is another thing also, is that you can teach the homeless to start a business and start making money at these festivals also.
Do you exclusively make it for black businesses, though?
No, I make it for any small business.
But do you not think that it would kind of not become the Taste of Soul at that point?
Well, it rotates from city to...
If there's free entry?
Well, it rotates from city to city. I mean, Taste of Soul is just one festival. I mean, there's Black on the Block. There's Inglewood has something going on. There's something in Sherman Oaks. Every city has their own little pop-up festival.
Well, I noticed this time at the Taste of Soul that there were more Latin businesses there than I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, because it costs $2,500 to get a booth.
Yeah.
Imagine if that $2,500 barrier for the booth was not there, and you were a black business.
So.
She said it's open to all businesses.
Yeah.
I'm saying, would it become something different if any business could register?
I would probably try to get the focus on small to micro businesses.
Small black businesses. Yeah,
that too. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I would definitely. I wouldn't exclude Latino businesses or white businesses, but I would also lower the entry level for black businesses to get in without having to cover a whole thing. That's something that we can demand from the mayor right now. They've got the budget. They got a capital budget that they can spend money on. Why not invest in the community? Hell, fund KBLA. Why, whoever comes, let us be the outlet for every resource that is happening in City Hall and where all the politicians can come.
Yes,
fund
KBLA.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that we need to, there's money there, and we're not holding these politicians' feet to the fire. We're just voting for them blindly year after year after year with nothing in return.
And that's what I think maybe, and I've heard this argument multiple times, I know we are supposed to vote. It's very important. But maybe if you hold your vote and then make them be accountable to actually help instead of saying, I'm going to help, and then they don't help.
You sit on the sideline to where there's so many people sitting on the sideline that there comes a person who says, listen, I see you sitting on the sideline. What do you want?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something else that I was very passionate about that I found that is very, very hard for especially a black female. I wanted to open a nonprofit for cats. Yeah. And I had boyfriend try to help me figure it out. It's almost impossible if you are not white to get it together, especially get the funding for your nonprofit.
Get the funding, you got to set the 501c with the IRS, but I think they would probably grant that status. But once you get that status, then you got to go knock on doors.
Yeah, and that's the issue. That's the hard. They would give it to a white woman more than they would help me out.
Maybe establish more than you, and she's got the funding to kind of kick the ball rolling.
Right.
No, I'm saying you're starting from zero.
Yeah, I'm starting from zero, trying to get the funding. Make it easier for me or give me some leeway where I could get funding to open a no-kill shelter.
There's a big blue collar. There's a big blue collar wave here. We got to go. Fahim, I see your phone call. That they're not paying attention to, men and women.
Yeah, that's so interesting too. And getting grant writers. I was just talking to my friend Akin Lada today. Yeah. She's trying to start this nonprofit for Black therapy, Triumph Over Trauma Healing Project, where she's a therapist and she's trying to get a facility together, but she needs grant writers. She needs somebody to design websites. All these different things.
It's a lot of money. Just to try to get the free money.
And she's done her whole proposal and everything, but she is a black woman, and it's therapy for black people.
It's like,
So if there are any grant writers out there who know how to get this type of project off the ground, please call it.
All right, Fahim, we're coming to you when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where truth prevails. The tricky station is down the dial.
It's the holiday season. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. Some things to look forward to this holiday season. Whitney fans, Whitney Houston's estate to release fragrance in her honor, reportedly marking one of the first official endorsement deals for the late singer. Available through the Home Shopping Network, Set Beauty, and even Walmart by mid-November. And fans are also thrilled to see the Best Man franchise back on screen, this time as a limited series debuting in December on Peacock. Of the holidays. What are you most excited about this season? Tweet us to let us know at KBLA 1580 #KBlackMinuteHoliday. The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Spa Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial missions to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talents, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're the victim of a car accident, who goes to bat for you is crucial. We're MVP Accident Attorneys, the personal injury pros. Hiring the right law firm could be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. When it comes to getting the maximum compensation you deserve, our team hits it out of the park. Call the Accident Attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for a free case review. Call 833-MVP-WINS.
Call me your MVP.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with a quick recap from my time at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. There were speakers Ian Dunlap, Damon John, Lynn Richardson, MC Light, Don Kennedy, to name a few. Take a listen to what Justin Grant, Community Development Lead at Chase's Advancing Black Pathway, let's see what he had to say.
So I'm Justin Grant. I lead Community Development and National Partnerships for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Pathway strategy. And so we're focused on strengthening the economic foundation of black communities, and we're making targeted investments in programs like the Advancing Black Wealth Tour to help us get our tools and resources out to the community to drive sustained impact over time.
So when it comes to black and brown people, it sounds like Chase is making it their personal responsibility not only to facilitate these events, but to educate and provide resources. So, Mr. Grant, I have to ask, what does wealth building look like for the individual?
It's home ownership. It's having that freedom to be able to start your own business and create jobs in your community. And it's having that long-term plan towards retirement, having that vision and you have the resources to actually live it.
I'm Maisha Cairo. Thanks for sticking around. That was my recap from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. First stop was here in LA, and they're taking it national.
Show them who we are.
KBLA Talk 1580 has not one, but two Black Panther Wakanda Forever weekend giveaways for KBLA Talk 1580 listeners. Friday, November 11th starts your weekend with a private screening of Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Dinner for two and an overnight stay at the W Hotel Hollywood. On Saturday, be our guest to the KBLA Wakanda Forever brunch and pool party. Win a KBLA Wakanda Forever weekend at the W Hotel Hollywood. It's simple to enter. Open the KBLA Talk 1580 app and enter to win. Two winners will be announced Thursday, November 10th. Listen to KBLA Talk 1580 to find out if you will experience the KBLA Talk 1580 Wakanda Forever weekend, starting Friday, November 11th at the W Hotel Hollywood. Black Panther Wakanda Forever private screening, dinner for two, overnight stay at the W Hotel Hollywood, brunch and pool party on Saturday. Download the KBLA app and enter to win the KBLA Talk 1580 Black Panther Wakanda Forever weekend. Black Panther Wakanda Forever opens November. There's only one way to win the KBLA Talk 1580 Black Panther Wakanda Forever weekend. Open the KBLA Talk 1580 app and enter to win. The KBLA Talk 1580 Black Panther Wakanda Forever weekend is sponsored by Top Shelf Getaways.
Only the most broken people can be regular seers.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Allison. We're live on the air. Real quick, Fahima. Let's go to Fahima in D.C. What's going on?
Okay, greetings, Don, Krista, and Sister Carmelo Blake. How are you? I'm fine.
Carmel, not Carmelo. Carmel
Okay.
Blake.
Carmel Blake. Sorry, I'll get it the next time.
Thank you.
But seriously, before I get into the reason why I was calling, I would encourage you, Sister Blake, to have your friend, this clinician, because I'm also a social worker, have your friend reach out to either the NABSW, National Association of Black Social Workers, or the National Association of or she's a psychologist, National Association of Black Psychologists. Both of these affinity groups will their mission statement is in keeping with what it is that she wants to do. So she should reach out to whichever, if she's a social worker or a psychologist, respectively. Now, the reason why I'm calling, first of all, just as in 2016, there were groups that were encouraging black people not to work, not to vote. And now I saw a number of things trending, and I saw people saying, oh, don't vote, vote down ballot. First of all, if you don't vote, the people that have been elected are not going to come on your door and say, oh, I noticed you weren't voted. Why you weren't voting? Why didn't you vote? There are people out there that are trying to get black people not to vote, because I saw it trending. And this divide between black men and black women, I'm sorry, all of the black men that I know in my circle, they voted. You know, and many of them who weren't in Georgia wish that they could have voted for Stacey Abrams. Right. The thing is, and Umar Johnson, you need to research him. Because he really needs to go and
He bought that scooter. He got that scooter in Delaware.
He got an empty building.
Oh, leave him alone. He got a building, okay? I got to run because we're
empty building that's dilapidated. And the man is conning people. GoFundMe just suspended his campaign because he wasn't using the money properly.
All right, go ahead real quick because I got to run because I got an interview to get to.
Last thing.
Yeah.
Michael Harris was the brilliant writer that used to be with the Root.com. He used to have this brilliant satirical essay called The Mailbag, and now he's with the Griot.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check him out, okay? All right, more conversation when we come forward. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.